State Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Vancillo.
Cody, right now, we are going down the cutting down of rosters is happening right now. If you've been paying attention on Twitter, there has been a lot of players entering the portal or leaving the team. It's sort of a sad thing, and unfortunately, this possibly could be an issue, mainly because if you saw in last year's team, like this team played over 100 players. So I feel like that could possibly be an issue.
Yeah, I think the number that was mentioned at the end of the year, I think it was Chris Williams who mentioned it. The Iowa State football team played 103 guys. So uh, I think it was the House settlement that's been referred to that was being referred like that includes Senator Ted Cruz and Cory Booker. There was mentions of possibly cutting down the rosters down to 105 scholarships. So that would, in a way, get rid of like the a lot of like the walk-on stories. So
Right.
that's what I've seen, and obviously it would affect Iowa State because I mean some of our like some of our players are known. We do like have that culture of developing like walk-ons, whatever.
Right.
Like we do have those scholarships, absolutely. But a lot of our guys tend to be ones that develop under our system, and that includes the walk-ons. And I mean, we saw last year with all the injuries to the linebacking core, you had to have a few walk-ons like ready to like play. And I
Right.
mean, the coaching staff, to their credit, they did everything they could to put the guys in great position. But it was kind of like Iowa State was kind of behind the eight ball injury wise. So
Right.
that said, I mean, okay, Matt Campbell did have his press conference this week, and he was like asked about the roster change. Matt Van Winkle of the Iowa State Alumni Association and Iowa Everywhere with the clip. Love his content, love what he shares, and I mean, this is just what Matt Campbell had to say. So, just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Did you turn the volume up on it?
It's up. It's about as high as it gets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I think what's striking to me the most is the fact that it kind of show like Campbell always wanted to be at here at Ames, like he wanted to be at Iowa State, and just his statement saying like asking about like the profession, obviously it makes it sound like that maybe. I mean, there's been rumors thrown around about like the way it's changing. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. And Matt Campbell, like he talks about like developing guys at his program. So this would be big impact for Iowa State in the event that this roster limit does get applied. But it also the question he asked was like, when would it be like input? Are we talking like in like summer camp? Are we talking like end of semester, or when are we? I think that's the big question that he kind of asked was like, when are they going to put this roster limit? Because we know it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Right, and you want to be ready and have be at the 105 player limit before the season starts because who knows, it could be happen week 0 or week 1. So we don't even know the timeline for this. It's really all messed up, and he's not the only one. I know Chris Kleiman at K State also had issues with this because obviously, um, you know, uh, K State and Iowa State are similar programs, and some in a sense. So he had like the same sentiments as Campbell did, and I gotta
Hmm.
think that that's crazy, especially when you have like Like now you're literally we are literally 4 months away from our first game. So already cutting down rosters. People who maybe thought, hey, if I work hard doing that now, like this is gonna be interesting for the next few and for the future of just really of recruiting. To be honest, like I don't
Yeah,
know how you can manage like because basically what they're saying is like tough stuff if you're like decimated by injuries because it's just like I don't understand how like your season is basically over now if you get
mhm.
decimated by injuries. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be huge, like on the team. Obviously, I'm thinking if I remember, because I listened to two guys that named first earlier today, and they were talking about like the Campbell press conference as well, and I think they had some insight on kind of like a little more insight than I did at the moment when it came to the house settlement. And I think the whole reason why I think this is even happening in the first place, that way they can provide more opportunities for like other like less utilized sports. But that does not seem logical because considering Title IX, like the only thing you really have to have is you have to have equal amounts of scholarships for men and women, like collegiate sports. So this feels less of that and more feels like you're limiting opportunities for these players. That work so hard to get into college football, and
Right.
now you aren't gonna know if you are even gonna be able to play like anywhere just because of uh these roster cuts when it and who knows like how that's gonna affect. So it doesn't just affect the coaches, but it affects the players as well because they'll be affected in a way. It's like they don't know if they're gonna be here and they don't want to really waste a roster spot, but because of like the timeline of when like the cutoff had to happen, like it would just be just kind of an unlucky timing, if you will.
Right. And I mean you look at how this is going to be like very very hurtful to group of 5 rosters, man, cuz like it's sort of like you wonder maybe what if I was listening to Split Zone Duo yesterday and they were just talking, doing your whole like vibe check of the Mac. They were doing it for every single conference, and they're just saying like, well, or what if they? Because it just seems like teams at our level, maybe teams in the Big 12, will raid teams from the Mac, get some of their best players. But I mean, even that, those players are going to be expensive if they're going to be all pro players or all conference players in the Mac because they're going to be a pretty penny in the portal. So I'm just wondering how Iowa State is going to navigate this, but I'm sure that they'll figure that out. But while the next topic I wanted to talk about were Derek Jensen and Austin Barrett. So a little fun fact, Cody, is that Derek Jensen actually was looked at by the Cyclones, I believe, in the class of either 2022 or 2023. Um, and at the time, I believe he was gonna come to ISU, and then Wisconsin came in at the last second, came and grabbed him because I believe this was right after uh, Luke Fickle got hired at Wisconsin, and then as soon as Fickle got hired at Wisconsin, he went to Wisconsin because he's a Wisconsin kid. I know that he did really like Iowa State, and he, had a really, really good relationship with the coaching staff. So I think that was a factor in him coming back to the Cyclones.
Hmm. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, he's like from the Milwaukee area.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that's a fair thing. Like, for sure, I'm glad he really he liked Iowa State, and I'm glad we had that relationship. And I think it's fair. Like, if you wanted to play closer to home, it makes sense. But I'm very happy that he is now at Iowa State, and very happy that he has that relationship. And I mean, he's going to be looks to be like a great depth piece on the offensive line because I believe he's a redshirt freshman.
yeah, he has 4 years left of eligibility, and the good thing about Austin Barrett, Dylan Barrett's brother, who played at Indiana, he has 3 years left. So I mean, I think maybe this could be the future wave, especially with these roster limits. I think this could be the future wave because I think more than ever, Cody, it's going to be very very important during like recruiting visits for like especially a lot of teams to build relationships. I think relationship building, and I know like with Campbell, like relationship building is like one of the top things he does with recruiting because he wants to know the type of guy that young man that you are, and and uh, molding you into become a better man outside of football, and also being a
Hmm.
good football player. So you're going to get a great education and also become a better man, as well as being a
Hmm.
better football player. So I think maybe with teams like I would say, hey, maybe it didn't work out. You maybe you lost a recruiting battle. I mean, that's literally how we got Xavier Townsend to come back. We recruited him back in 2021. Didn't work out at UCF, but he had a good relationship with the coaches. He had a and hey, existing relationships with the players. Look, maybe it's a player's friend. They reach out, and then maybe they want to come to Iowa State. So I'm wondering if that's maybe uh, something that Iowa State is going to attack maybe in the future.
Hmm. And I think to build onto that also, I think they want to like really like keep like build continue to build up the Midwestern like recruiting pipeline. You talk about like here in the state of Iowa, we have quite a few players that are from the state of Iowa. We got guys from the Kansas City area. I mean, most recently, we have the pipeline from Nebraska, Illinois as well, and then you got a couple guys from Wisconsin. So just really continuing to hammer down the Midwest and try and be the premier like trying to be like a premier program in the Midwest is going to be really key for a program like Iowa State, who may not be on that upper like who aren't in the elite tier of recruiting like the Ohio States, the Notre Dames, the Alabamas, the Michigans of the world. So that's the way that Iowa State sees himself staying competitive is to recruit these guys from like the local area and to really develop them and turn them into great players and great role players that do their job and they do it well. And now you're starting to see like guys like going pro, like going to the NFL.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that you said that because now you know what we're gonna and one thing I had to add before we move off uh this Austin Barrett and Derek Jensen topic is that there is another Barrett right now, and I believe he's a freshman. He is or sophomore. He is class of 2028, so I'm pretty sure I would say probably has an eye on him right now.
Hmm.
But anyways, we're gonna go and look, and we're gonna talk about the draftable players in the NFL draft tonight. I believe there's five of them. We have Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Darian Porter, Miles Purchase is training, so he could be in for camp, and then Malik Verdon. So I mean, let's really break this down, man. I mean, in a lot of mock drafts, I know Daniel Jeremiah is one I really pay attention to. The move to the sixth pod. I believe he had him and Higgins as possible, and Porter as top in his top 75 mock draft. So really, those are usually day one, day two to day three players. So what are your thoughts on that?
I Yeah, I think that I can realistically, I think that's where like you could probably have like your like the higher end for Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins is like a kind of like a day two kind of guy, maybe early a second rounder because I think just the way that they provide it, and like from what I've heard and how much praise both Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel have received at like the Senior Bowl and then on draft day, team scouts are really impressed with like those two skills and capabilities. So really impressed with what they saw out of the two wide receivers and what like their tape has put on at Iowa State. I think it sets up great for both of those guys to go to the NFL and looks to have a pretty solid career. I think they have the right skill set that they develop at Iowa State, and I just think they can fall into the path of like a an Alan Lazard or like even Hakeem Butler.
Definitely. I mean, and Hakeem Butler was a top 100 pick. Unfortunately, he didn't work out. But I mean, having not now like having not just having one, but having two, three, four, even five guys getting drafted in the draft each year. I mean, it definitely improves the validity, and it shows um, the the culture of Iowa State, and it shows the genius and elite coach that Matt Campbell is. But
Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think yeah, just the genius. I mean, yeah, not just that, but I mean the last like what 10 years. I think I saw. I think it was Corey J. Morrissey put out a tweet saying, in Campbell's time as the head coach, he has produced about what was it, 15 or so% of all like NFL draftees from Iowa State. So that just shows just the impact that Matt Campbell has had on the program and on the players that have eventually gone to the NFL.
And Campbell literally gave us our first round pick in 50 years. 3 years ago, when Will McDonald was a top 15 pick by the Jets. So I mean, the fact that like we still keep putting guys out there, and guys not just like just being in the league, but actually making a difference and being like stars in the league. Like Brees is a star. Brock Purdy is about to get hit a big contract. So congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then not to mention David Montgomery, like he's been him and Jameer Gibbs was a really fun duo to watch.
mhm.
Like last year, that was a fun duo to watch in the backfield.
Yeah, seeing him thrive, and then Alan Lazard being best friends with Aaron Rodgers, like so it's just, and then like and just to go for and then just to cross promote with basketball, you see Tyrese being a huge NBA star, hanging out with Caitlin Clark, having an awesome rivalry, him always being on the Pat McAfee show. So like, I mean, we're in a good spot with Iowa State. And then also, not to mention, I forgot another guy. We forgot there's six um, or seven, but Jalen Travis. I know there has been a lot. I've seen a lot of mocks where he's going to go day three in the fifth round. So
Hmm.
I know a lot of teams like Malik Verdon too. So in his tape. I think that with him, it's just going to be health, and if he's going to be able to pass the physical. But I believe that he'll get drafted. I think Miles Purchase will make a team. Will make it as a free agent. I think whoever 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 gets Miles Purchase is definitely going to get a steal.
Hmm.
So I really can't wait to watch it, Cody.
Yeah, I look at Miles Purchase as a steal, and then Jalen Travis. That's going to be a very valuable piece because just the way he was able he was like one of the best like offensive linemen in the Big 12, and I think he did like he looked decently like the way I saw like his tape at like draft day. Dude was explosive for what was it? What was he measured at 6'6", 330? Dude
Yes,
has agility, so that he has a great like athletic ability to him that can you develop that and you build up like like that even further. He is more than capable of protecting many quarterbacks' blind sides. Because
yeah. I mean
I think the one
that's.
thing that could
Go ahead.
yeah, the
Sorry.
one thing I can yeah, it's okay. But I think the one thing that I saw like I think is just having a bigger punch, and I think
Yeah.
that comes with more strength. Yeah, if once Jalen Travis develops like a more powerful like first like contact with his hands, I think he could generally probably have a chance of putting some guys in the NFL on the floor.
Definitely, especially with the elite pass rushers coming up, it's a different level. And Cyclone Meatball, thank you for watching the show, bro. He said the same thing that we've basically been alluding to. He said Iowa State is known for creating guys who continue to develop once they get into the pros. Similar to some of Farron's guys, Iowa State guys don't talk themselves up; they just play and grow. And yeah, you've seen that. You've seen that with Brock Purdy, with Brock Purdy having like tons of weapons around him, Brees Hall coming into the league and making a scene. I mean, it took a little while for Allen, but Allen like finding his spot. So like you see all these Iowa State players coming in and producing, and then David doing what he did for the Bears, even though some Bears fans don't think that he was good, which I don't get, but Bears fans don't know football. But uh, but you see that, and like it's absolutely amazing, bro. Um, so and did you know, Cody, that you can make draft odds on who gets drafted. And where can you do that? You can do that with my bookie.
Yeah, yep. Obviously, the NBA playoffs are continuing to are heating up. The MLB season heating up. The NHL playoffs are heating up. But yeah, you can also make draft odds on who gets drafted where. Maybe you'll predict whether, like, you can pick who will be the first quarterback off the board, whether it's Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, and also figure out where Ashton Genty may end up. I mean, I think I saw like, was it a letter like on social media that talked about like him and the Bears being connected somewhere.
Yeah, the Bears. There's been a lot of smoke about him, about the Bears possibly trading up to get possibly go up to I think 7 or 6, or either where the Raiders or Jets are to go get him. But
Yeah,
that's been smoke. But I don't know if that's true though.
I mean, my bookie has the Bears as the minus 140 favorite to draft Ashton Genty. So looks like,
Ooh.
yeah, so looks like there is smoke to Genty going to the Bears. Looking at quarterbacks, yeah, it looks like Cam Ward is the clear favorite, minus 20,000 to be the first quarterback selected, and he's a minus 20,000 favorite to be the first overall pick. So who knows? That's
Yes.
that's the that's crazy just to look at. Like, I mean, the next best odds are Abdul Carter at plus 2,000.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking Abdul Carter is going to get picked at 3 by the Giants, and they don't pick a quarterback unless and then I've heard a lot of people saying that they could trade back into the first round to go get one. I do. I
Hmm.
think that uh, he's gonna. I think Shadur is gonna drop all the way down to 21 to win the Steelers pick. I think he's gonna get drafted by the Steelers.
Interesting.
Because the
Yeah, I
Steelers need a
mean,
quarterback, and I feel like with Cody, like you don't make a trade for DK Metcalf for him to throw it to for Mason Rudolph to throw it to him. Like I feel like they like Pittsburgh is looking for a new franchise QB. They haven't had one since Ben Roethlisberger, and like pre-draft visits, like Mike Tomlin loves Shooter Sanders, so I feel like that could be a good fit for both parties.
hmm yeah, I'm looking at some other names here that could be interesting. We talk about Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, Tedoroy McMillan from Arizona, and then Travis Hunter. Where do you think Travis Hunter will fall?
So and it has him going number two. To who's number two?
Looks like the second best odds are Abdul Carter at
Oh,
plus 2,000, and then Travis Hunter's at plus 4,000.
oh, I meant to say who's drafting
Oh,
number two, but
let me see. NFL draft. Because it was what, Tennessee at number one overall.
yeah.
Oh, Cleveland at number two.
Oh yeah, I think he's gonna end up. I think Cleveland's gonna stand pat and then go to the Browns
Hmm. And for the Bears, they don't draft till 10. So do you think they trade up with like New England or Jacksonville?
to get Genty at that early.
Oh, maybe. I mean, Jacksonville does have the second best odds to draft Ashton Genty at plus 110. Then it's the Raiders at plus 350.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that I've heard. Like, I think it's going to be completely unpredictable because I've also heard that Ted McMillan that could go at 5 because I know their new GM wants to make a splash and get an offensive weapon for Trevor Lawrence, and
Yeah.
in some mock drafts I've seen Ted McMillan go as far as 5, and him go
Mm.
all the way down to 19. So like, I don't know. It's and then I've also heard Matthew Golden for the Cowboys, and if they're both of them aren't there, then they could trade down. And who knows if Genty and McMillan are there, like I don't know what the Cowboys are gonna do, but like just like what Cody said, he listed off all those odds, um, and with that, when you go to the website, to my bookie, make sure you mention the Believe in Iowa State podcast, and make sure you put in the code MM50 to sign up. And if you know ball, go and make your money. So thank you for that, and thank you for sponsoring this podcast, MyBookie. All right, moving on. With that being said, let's do our draft predictions for our players, our the Iowa State players, and then we'll just do our personal wants. All right.
Mhm.
So, where do you think Jalen goes, and then where do you think Jaden goes?
Let's see. I'm looking at Jalen Noel. I think he'll be just behind Jaden Higgins because with Jaden Higgins, he's got the height on Jalen Noel. So I think Jaden Higgins will be a slightly more valuable receiver to have. But both those are still like they're going to be probably drafted at about the same in the same like range of like picks, which will probably be expecting maybe late second, early third
Mm-hmm.
round, but they'll be right. They'll be close to each other. They'll be close to each other. So they'll probably be like within five, like 4 or 5 picks of each other. As for Jalen Travis, I would expect him to possibly be. Um, he'll probably be, yeah, like you said, a fifth round guy. It just
Mm-hmm.
depends on that. And then Darren Porter, he could also potentially be in the third round if like Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins fall in the third round. You could potentially have three Cyclones get drafted in the third round. I mean, Darren Porter had a showing at at the combine, so that would be something like he's clearly like a value like would be a valuable corner or like a special teams kind of guy because you saw like some of the stuff he did on special teams, like with the blocked punts and the blocked field goal kicks. He would be a great asset for any like team that needs like a guy like on special teams or depth at like corner.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that, man. I think um I know for me at least, um like I'll say that I think Jaden Higgins goes like you said. Jaden Higgins also has probably people think he has a lot more higher upside, so people are going to be banking a lot more on his potential, and the fact that he runs like a 4.40, and he's 6'4", 215 is absolutely insane. So it seems like, oh yeah, they're like, I want that. So if I am hoping and I am praying, Cody, if if we let's say Ashton Genty is there at 12, or Marion Hampton is there at 12, and we get either one of them, I am praying that we that we draft him at 44. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're going to do in this first 3 rounds is either running back or receiver. But yeah, I do think that Jaden Higgins is going to go before Noel. Noel, I think, is going to be in a good situation, but Noel is also um, a lot more. He can play slot, but he can play everywhere. He can play outside, and his catch radius is insane for his size. So he's definitely going to make a team very very happy. Um,
Hmm.
my hot take, I think there are a lot of teams that like Darian Porter. I think Darian Porter could sneak up in the at the end of the first round, dude. I think I really do think so. And
You
but
know,
like like you said, probably like late second, early third is probably you're probably right. But I could totally see first round.
I mean, yeah, I feel like early, like yeah, late first would be nuts. That would be crazy. Imagine like Iowa State getting be able to show the fact that they put another first rounder into the NFL with Derek Porter, and I mean, solid development, and I think his upside is great. But for me, hmm, I think this was a really rough year for San Francisco, and I mean, I guess one thing you could look for is probably wanting to draft like a gotta get some linemen. But I mean, the Ashton Genty being right there, that would be a dangerous one-two punch with Christian McCaffrey and Genty in the backfield. So you give Brock Purdy even another weapon to have like in the backfield. So you really are able to So that could be something. And I looked at the first round. San Francisco drafts right before Dallas,
I know.
so that could be a way for us to spite Dallas once again. So we'll continue to beat Dallas on and off the field.
And yeah, we'll continue to lose Super Bowls, so it's whatever. But
Okay.
yep, I know.
Okay.
I'm getting the smoke, Cyclones fans. I'm sorry. Um, even if you don't think I do. But I think Dallas at 12. I mean, I've heard so many different things this offseason. Oh, they're going to get a receiver. Oh, they're going to get a running back. Oh, they're going to go offensive lineman um, or defensive line. I mean, honestly, for me, I think right here, I think they're going to be getting a receiver. I think if if Golden or Ted McMillan are there, I think that's what the pick is going to be. But if neither of them are there, I think that I've heard so many different predictions that they're going to trade down. But my prediction is I think Ted McMillan is going to fall because of the pre-draft stuff. But I think Ted McMillan will be the pick for the Cowboys at 12 tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for San Francisco, I think they want to like draft defense because that was kind of one of our the weaker points of like of the season was just not having an ability to really like get off the field because there were a lot of times when I
Yeah,
was watching San Francisco, they just couldn't get off the field
definitely.
defensively. So I mean, you look at I mean a couple options would be Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, Will Johnson from Michigan, or Jahad Campbell from Alabama. So those, I mean, yeah, if they're losing Dre Greenlaw, that would it would be huge to replace the like to replace that linebacker role right there. So I think it would be great. Just got to bolster up the defense, and I think the offensive weapons will come in hand like a little after because I think there's more. You can find more diamonds in the rough offensively than you can defensively.
Yeah, you can always find like offensive players in later rounds. I also heard and one of the draft shows that I podcast I listened to, they were saying that possibly it could be Walter Nolan, which would be a great pick for you guys on the D line, or maybe get a
Hmm.
pass rusher that you can pair somebody that you can pair with Nick Bosa because you guys haven't really had anything since 2019 since rookie year. That'd be good for the
Hmm.
Niners, and that would bring a quick fix to get y'all right back up into the NFC. So
For sure.
it's definitely going to be interesting next few days. It's going to be fun for us Iowa State fans to watch. Selfishly, obviously, we all want them to do well, and obviously, selfishly, me and Cody either want them to produce and get drafted by either the 49ers or the Cowboys. So
For
with
sure.
that, yeah, for sure. And with that, we're gonna end and talk about this Dominic Nelson visit for basketball. We did bring this up, I believe, like about 5 or 6 episodes ago in the season review of after the Ole Miss loss in that episode. So if you want to listen, go back to that episode and listen and talk and listen to us talk about Dominic Nelson. But I believe his visit is coming up soon.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it was scheduled for tomorrow, if I'm
Yeah,
mistaken. Like it'll be tomorrow. So yeah, and he comes from Utah Valley, I believe. Yeah, he's another guard. So yeah, I mean, so far the guard room for TJ is really it's loaded. Obviously, you bring Taylor Lipsy, you got Nate Heisey, and then you're bringing in Jamarian Bateman, Killian Torre. So really stacked. Um, guard room, and then you also like you already have Mason Williams from Eastern Washington as well. So the it's quite a loaded like guard room. So we're gonna see,
hmm
and I mean Domin Nelson does bring like he's got a good amount of scoring. I mean, well, he was the like all like first team. I think we mentioned he was like first team whack.
yeah, he was first team whack. So I mean, he's not just a guy. He's not just a guy that we got here. He's a really really good player.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm wondering how that's gonna play out for that. Yeah, and Nasako Meatball said this too. I think maybe there's a reason why you have Domin Nelson come visiting because I mean there was like speculations of Williams possibly being injured, and I mean that could be the case. I'm not gonna say whether it is or not, but I mean it has listed. I mean he Mason Williams did come off an injury plagued season last year, so maybe it's spurred up again, but who knows for sure unless something official comes out. I don't really feel like the right to comment on that.
Yeah, we don't really know Cyclones, but unfortunately, we're sorry. We are not that plugged in, but we will once we know just as much as you do. But as soon as we figure out, we definitely will be reporting it and talking about it here on the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Do you have any other things to add, Cody, before we end?
I think I think for me, I'm just gonna really just sit around, watch the NFL draft, see what happens. I mean, who knows what fan bases are gonna feel like after we're drafting certain players. I'm really curious to see who like just the crazy reactions. Like, who do you think is gonna be like that team that really reaches for a player? Because there's always the one team who does.
Yeah, no. Wait. Say repeat that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think what I've seen the last few years, there's going to be like one guy that like a team reaches for, and I'm just
Mhm.
wondering who you would think will be the player that's reached for by a team. Like who's going to be like the big reach?
This is a very, very good question. Um, I, I feel like it's going to be Genty. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be reaching for Ashton Genty and like basically trying to trade the farm for him. And I'm not saying that he's not going to be a generational player, but like I just with this running back class that's coming in, I feel like you can get a running back anytime. And it's funny because I had this conversation with a coworker of mine that we always talk football before we came in record the pod. He was like, I mean, like, and I think it has people thinking after Saquon had his breakout year. But I think what people got to realize is that you have to make sure that your front office is in tune with your scouting department because the Eagles have a very aggressive front office who will make trades in the draft and will sign people in free agency and they're not afraid to do it. I mean, I can't stand Philly, but that's one thing that I wish that the Cowboys front office had was a sense of urgency because they don't. And the 49ers, like I can't stand the 49ers. 49ers are the same way. That's why even in the years they suck, they come right back up and they are contenders in the NFC. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be a fun next few days. This is like my favorite part of the year. I'm a huge draft nerd, so like I love this. I'm getting together with some of my boys tonight, and we're gonna watch the draft together. So it's
Hmm.
gonna be fun, man. But with that, we are going to end it here today. Thank you guys as always for listening to the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Few things before we go. We are a top 15 sports podcast in the state of Iowa, nominated by FeedSpot. So, as always, thank you, FeedSpot, for nominating us. Thank you for people in the state of Iowa for listening. Um, if you want to find us on Twitter, here's where you can find us: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. If you want to find Cody, um, he's that Matt Kimball impersonator. Just talk to him about I don't know anything. Talk to him about the Braves, music, other sports. Um, Check out his cool graphics. So yeah, and then for me, you can uh, find me. Wow, jeez, you can find me on Twitter at Side Tie Guy, and talk to me about uh, anything Florida, anything Cowboys. Uh, I share the word too. So if you have any questions about that, my DMs are open. All right.
And back to the, real quick, the White Sox are currently playing the Twins right now. They're up 2-0 here in the top of the fifth. So who knows?
Hey, what? Okay, let's go. Thank you for the update. See that made me excited, even though they're probably going to lose. But
I
that's
think.
good
Wait,
for
let me.
now.
Yeah, we'll see what
Uh,
happens.
yeah, we'll see what happens. They're probably going to lose, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for joining us. So for Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Betzil,
this is the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
let's go State.
Woo.